Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is your girl Miss Mink, and you are officially in Mink's room. Today we are here to discuss the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 12 episode 1. So we're going to go ahead and get on into it. So we pick up with all the girls. They're doing a montage of where all the ladies are, and we see Garcelle and Sutton. They are living the life, okay? Living la vida loca as single ladies in Miami. And the ladies are also in Miami because Garcelle is being honored through the charity she is dealing with, Angels for Humanity, which is an organization to help out the people in Haiti. Garcelle is a beautiful Haitian woman, and she got to represent. So they had her come out and speak at the event, and it was huge. And she talked about how it means so much to her, and she's standing up for her people. So I can respect that. And Sutton came along with her to support her. And I love when the girls get together because they always have fun when they together. And they single and mingling. So I'm so glad to see them together, and girl, then they start talking about some things. So the girls begin discussing about Sutton appearing on Watch What Happens Live with Andy, and she begins to say that Lisa Rinna and Harry Hamlin, her husband, was invited by Sutton to attend the charity event, and that she never received a thank you from Lisa Rinna, and Lisa was shocked. She didn't know why Sutton was coming at her like that because she said she considered Sutton as a friend. So we go back to Sutton and Garcelle, and Sutton was like, well, I didn't mean to say it in a way, to come at her or be disrespectful. I was just making a point to say that, well, I don't understand why Lisa's so upset with Garcelle about Harry making, his special sauce for Garcelle, which was what we saw last season, and that she didn't receive a text after the fact saying that, how much she appreciated the sauce. And Garcelle's defense was, well, I said thank you when you guys were here. And Lisa Rinna even, confirms that and says, you're right, you did. So then what's the problem, Rinna? You're just making a big deal for nothing with Garcelle, which is, I didn't understand it then and I don't understand it now. Sutton's whole point was bringing that up was to say, well, how can you be upset with Garcelle for not saying thank you in a text message when you didn't even tell me thank you in person when I invited you guys to attend this charity event with me. So, honey, yeah, Sutton, she threw the shade back at Rinna. And like before in the previous season, Sutton has a way of dropping comments that she feels like aren't going to be, insulting to, her castmates, but at the same time, she be dropping little bombs and saying little slick stuff that gets her in trouble. Sutton has a way with words, She knows what she's doing when she says what she says. So Sutton can play if she wants, but we know Pepperidge Farm remembers. Okay. Sutton was telling Garcelle that she doesn't really feel like things with her and Lisa Rinna is going to be in a bad place because she didn't mean it in a malicious way. And we go back, flash over to Erica and Rinna is telling her, you messed with the wrong bitch. So we can see that already a storms are brewing, honey. The girls are going to be fighting. They're going to drag this out through the whole season. I can already tell that Rinna and Sutton are going to be at odds. Erica and Sutton are already at odds because of last year when Erica says that she's going to come for her. Rinna and Erica are on Sutton's ass. They coming for your ass. Okay, Sutton? So you better stay close to Garcelle so you have an ally this season, okay? Then we see Sutton pull up in the Bentley over to Crystal's house. Crystal is back on the show for her second season. Last year, she didn't really bring too much to the show other than that explosive episode with her and Sutton. They kind of went back and forth about what Sutton said about how she doesn't see color. It was very offensive, not only to the black community, but all, minorities of skin color. It just rubbed people the wrong way. We don't like that phrase or saying. It doesn't make sense to us because if you don't see color, you don't see me. And you clearly see me. So get out of here with that. I hate that phrase. It's kind of an oxymoron to say that. You think you're saying it to, appease us, but at the same time, you're offending us. So I don't know. But anywho, so I like the fact that Crystal, she schooled Sutton on that, But for right now, they are friends, and I'm glad that they are in a good place, and they actually get along. So they sitting there talking, and Sutton says to Crystal, well, I kind of slipped up, my mouth gets me into trouble. And Crystal was looking at her like, yeah, I know, I experienced it. I definitely know firsthand. And they crack about it. They make a little joke about it. So I thought that was cute. And Crystal goes in her confessional and she says, well, I definitely know that Sutton has a way of saying things that, can get her in trouble. So I'm very aware, even though we are in a good place, I'm still kind of keeping an eye on Sutton. Sutton tells her about the after show, the Watch What Happens Live after show. And she says that she didn't mean to come at Renna that way. It just, kind of came out or whatever. Get to talking about trying to set Sutton up on a date. And Crystal says she's going to use her, friends and, talk to some people and try to get Sutton back into the dating game. Because Sutton, she needs a man, girl. She's dating now. She's single and she's a mingling. So I'm glad to see that Sutton and Crystal are in a good place after last season. So then we go to the next scene and we see Garcelle meeting up with Erica. All right, y'all. Now let's get into this scene. So Garcelle meets up with Erica and they go to have a little workout. And then we see a flashback of Sutton saying to Garcelle, I don't really want you to go talking to Erica on my behalf. I don't want to talk to her. I don't want to talk about her. I just don't want anything to do with her. Garcelle feels different. She's like, no, you deserve an apology. The way she came at you last year was unacceptable. And she's going to apologize to you for that. I feel Garcelle on that. I'm glad she is sticking up for Sutton, even though I think that she has a little guilt about last year, how she didn't stick up for her. So now she's trying to rectify the situation because the viewers were, coming for her about that. But I do appreciate the fact that she's trying to make things right now. And whether Sutton approves of it or not, she's going to go talk to Erica and she's going to go get that apology in her mind. But so she goes to meet up with her and she gets right down to it. After the workout, she asks Erica, hey, how's everything going? As far as the case and stuff, and Erica was like, well, everything's quiet now, everything's died down, so I'm just glad that I'm not getting hit every day with the new article. So Garcelle said, I understand that. Well, how do you feel about Sutton, and do you think that you're going to apologize to her? And Erica was like, apologize for what? Playing dumb. And Garcelle was like, you kind of threatened her. And Erica's like, threaten her how, Garcelle? Threaten her how? What did I say? And Garcelle was like, you told her you were going to come for her. And she says, well, I mean, people come for me, then I'm going to come for them as well. If you swing at me first, then I'm going to swing back. Basically saying that Sutton's the one that started it. And she's referring to the fact that they had that sit-down meeting at Sutton's house. Even though she didn't call the meeting, or good Judy's called the meeting, Miss Dorit, Miss Kyle, and Renna, all of them had called the meeting, but the fact that it was at Sutton's house, and Sutton was there reading the LA Times article about the case, because everybody was asking questions because of the facts that you were giving them. You were telling them things that didn't add up. The stories was conflicting as hell. So everybody wanted to know the ins and outs and wanted to get down to the bottom of it because they were afraid for their situation. They was afraid that they was going to be questioned or they was going to have to come in. And everybody was trying to protect their assets because they didn't get the answer that they needed from you. So you were giving them lies and it was conflicting. All the stories that you gave were conflicting. They made no sense. So yeah, they had questions. And Sutton was the only one that questioned you about it. Everybody had questions. She's the only one that came to your face about it. And that's why you're mad at Sutton. That's the real reason why you're mad. So I just feel like Sutton didn't start anything. And Garcelle was sitting there looking at her like, bitch, you crazy? Like, what are you talking about? But Erica just goes on a tangent about how people start with her and she's not taking it and she's going to fight back and all this other stuff. So then Garcelle ends up bringing up the case, asking her, okay, well, what's going on with the case? Everything good? And Erica wants everybody to know that it was a civil case. It wasn't a criminal case. And that all the allegations against her were proven to be wrong, which we all know was a lie. She says, I never had access to the money. It was never in my account. It was never in my company's account. My lawyers, everybody, all the lawyers in court had looked it up and they saw no tie between me and the money that was in that account that they're speaking of. and I had nothing to do with it. So basically trying to clear her name. But we all know what's really going on. We all know what happened. Bottom line is Erica's not apologizing to Sutton. She feels like she started it. So Garcelle, you wasted your time. As Sutton told you, you were going to waste your time. That was the end of that scene, you guys. Nothing really happened there. You know, Erica just looks crazy as hell, like she been looking for the last season or two. So then we see Dorit at home. She returns home from London. Her and the children. PK stayed back because he still had business to attend to in London. And she's FaceTiming Garcelle. The kids are with their karate instructor, learning karate in the backyard. And Garcelle says, hey, how was the wedding? How did it go? And Dorit was like, oh, it was so beautiful, Garcelle, and all this stuff. And they talk about how they can't wait to meet up and see each other so she can tell her all about it. And then we fast forward to later on that night to about 3 o'clock in the morning. We see two burglars break Dorit's window. And honey, the burglars came and got what they needed to get, and they got up out of there. We see one of them put something down on the ground by Dorit's gate, which we later find out that was Dorit's cell phone. And we see hear voices saying, please don't hurt me. Please, I have children. Please don't hurt me. Please don't kill me. And we see the burglars leave. And the next day it hit the news. We see all the articles and news reports about her house being robbed, and all the girls hear about it. Even see Teddy from previous seasons come and comfort her and console her. And it was just a mess, you guys. So I'm just hoping that this storyline is real, because it's looking that way, but I'm not really sold yet. And we'll get to why I feel that way later on in the review. The fact that it's happened to Dorit, even though she's not my favorite, housewife, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. And then we see Dorit say on Watch What Happens Live that they have not been caught yet, that they are still at large. That is so crazy, you guys. The fact that the guys haven't been caught yet, like, what are the Beverly Hills cops doing, honey? Are they just distracted from the Megan Thee Stallion case? Are they still working on Tory Lanez and the Megan Thee Stallion case? Because y'all need to be investigating that, okay? So we get to Kyle's house, and she has Sutton over, and honey, Kyle is giving us her Academy Award winning performance. She just, because the news broke about the robbery at Dorit's house, and it's everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's gathering around. We see Erica and Rinna. They're getting ready to go over to go see her. Everybody wants to see Dorit to check on her and make sure that she's okay. And Kyle is just crying her poor little eyes out, honey. And Sutton comes over there. She's all chipper. Then Kyle's like, I just can't believe this happened. I just can't believe that this happened. And this is crazy. I just hate that this happened to her. And Sutton goes, well, honey, I've been putting out fires all day myself. I just been going through it. Today had just been a day. And Kyle's like, well, what kind of fires have you been putting out? He goes, well, I got this French designer that I want to come in, and, immigration is just giving me a hard time. And Kyle looks at her like, bitch, like, are you serious right now, Sutton? That ain't got one to do with the price in tea in China. Like, what is you talking about, girl? So Kyle in her confessional says, are you freaking kidding me? Like, what's wrong with you? How could you compare the two situations? I bust out laughing when Sutton said that, because Sutton is unbothered, honey. Sutton is just looking at this like, child, I don't believe none of these hoes. She didn't believe Erica, and she damn sure ain't buying this whole Dorit situation. I think Sutton is on to something. Sutton is like, I smell bullshit. I don't see why you would even think that that's, they're in the same caliber. Like, Sutton says, well, I mean, it's serious to me. I'm sorry. I was never robbed by gunpoint. Never had a gun in my face. Okay, sorry. Baby, Sutton is not buying this shit. And Kyle just looking at her like, this bitch is crazy. I thought that was funny as hell. So then Sutton talks about how her and Crystal had got up and met up, and they was talking about how Crystal was going to hook Sutton up with, maybe some potential bachelors so she can get back into the dating scene. And Kyle, I don't know why, but she brings up Erica and says, oh, well, Erica says she's, dating right now or whatever. Sutton was just looking like, well, I don't know about all of that. And I think I'm gonna do it my way, and I'm not really concerned about her and how she's doing it her way. She didn't say that verbatim, but basically that's the vibe she was giving at Kyle. She was looking at her like, "Don't bring that bitch up to me. I don't give a damn what she's doing." That's how she was looking at her like, "Why are you bringing that up to me? I don't give a damn. I'm talking about me." So she was like, "I'm not really concerned as to, what she's doing, but I'm doing it my way. I'm going to do it, with Crystal or whatever." So, okay, that's nice. So Kyle is just looking like, well, speaking of Eric, I know that we say some things to each other that is, not so nice. And Sutton cuts her off and was like, no, no, no. And Kyle's like, no, what? She was like, I just don't agree with what you're saying. But go ahead, I'm listening. Go ahead, continue. I was like, go ahead. Come on, Sutton. Read Kyle ad, because you already know what Kyle's doing. She's prying like she always does. She's good for that. She's been doing it for years. Every season she's on the show. She starts shit, and then she sits back and let the girls fight and go at it and act like nothing's happened. Meanwhile, she's sitting in the back like, hoo ha ha, look what I've started. Look what I've done. You know what I mean? So that's the only reason why she's been on the show for so long, because she's the shit starter. And then she sits back and watches everything unfold in front of her as if she had no part in it and took no part in why everything played out the way it did. And that just drives me crazy about Kyle. I can't stand her for that. But anyway, Sutton is standing on her own 10 toes. And she's like, look, I don't really care for none of that. That girl came at me crazy, and I don't really have no sympathy for her. And Kyle was like, well, I'm pretty sure when she went home that night, the way she talked to you at Kathy's house, I feel bad that I didn't stand up for you that night. And Sutton was like, well, no one did. No one stood up for me. And Kyle's like, yeah, you're right. I apologize. Well, I'm sorry for that. But I'm pretty sure that, Erica went home and cried her eyes out. And Sutton's just like, bitch, the same way Kyle was looking at her when she was really sympathetic for Dora in her situation, that's the same way Sutton was looking at her like, bitch, I know you just fucking didn't gonna bring up this girl to me, asking me if I feel sorry for her. Like, what? No, I don't feel sorry for no damn Eric. That girl threatened me. Like, why would I feel sorry for her? And Kyle was just like, oh, well, I know Erica has this, strong, tough girl, bitch mentality or persona that she's really not. Bitch, she really is. Cut it out, Kyle. Stop trying to take up for Erica. Like, she mad at your ass too, okay? So I don't even know why you're trying to take up for her now. It's a little sorry, a little too late, okay? Sutton is not with that shit. She was like, Kyle, look, don't bring her up to me. I don't really care to discuss her. I don't want to talk about her. And I don't feel sorry for her. Not even a little bit, okay? Meanwhile, across town, okay, in the words of Alex Rogers, shout out to him, we see Crystal and Lisa Rinna meet up because Harry's 70th birthday is coming up. Harry looks good for 70. He really does. He's very handsome. I love Harry. And they're looking for a venue to throw the party. And Lisa Rinna, here she go, making it about her, always making it about her, talking about, well, I don't even feel comfortable even having this party, knowing what Dora is going through. I just feel so bad. I just feel like, should I cancel the party? Why would you even do that? How you gonna cancel something? You're throwing a party for your husband. How you gonna cancel his party for what your friend going through over here? Like, Lisa, stop making it about you. I hate when she does that. She makes everything about her. She does that later on in this episode too, and I'll get to that later. They was talking about it in the car on the way there to the venue, and Crystal starts crying. She breaks down because nothing comes before your children, and being in a situation where you're begging for your life and begging for your children's lives, like, that is one of the scariest things ever. Like, I couldn't imagine ever going through anything like that. I would just be a mess. You thought that was a very sincere moment from Crystal, But Lisa, can't get with her. But we're going to act like, she cares. But she definitely made that moment about her and talking about, oh, should I cancel the party? I just don't know. Like, girl, bye. So the next scene, we're back at Kyle's house, and the girls are all rallying over to come over to Kyle's house because Dora is going to come over, and they just want to be there for her and console her in her time of need. And we see Erica is the first one to get there, and Kyle is kind of taken aback because she knows that her and Erica are not in the best place. It was so awkward. It was like, hey, Kyle, it's me. And Kyle was like, hey, yeah, I know your voice. Like, we think I don't know your voice? And Eric was like, yeah, it's so annoying. I know you know it by now. I thought that was a little shade that Kyle tried to like, girl, I know we ain't talking in a minute, but I remember your voice. You think I don't remember your voice? I thought that was a little shady. But anyway, so she walks in, they give each other a hug. She's like, hey, how you been? She's like, I'm good. How are you? She's like, yeah, we're good. I'm good. Okay. Crickets. Like, they just sitting there. Well, yeah, cheers, cheers, you know. Crickets. Like, it's so awkward. Like, you can cut the tension in the room with a knife, honey. So Mauricio walks in with his fine self, and he goes, hey, Erica. And she was like, Mauricio, you hurt my feelings. You hurt my feelings, Mauricio. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. What did I do? Al says, well, she's, talking about the whole dinner scene with you and PK. And he was like, still over that? I'm terribly sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean anything. I love Mauricio. He's so cute. And then he takes Erica's hand and, kisses her hand or whatever. And I was just like, Mauricio is so, I just eat him up. I love Mauricio. And Kyle, you better keep your eye on her, on Erica, because she's single now. Okay? And the way he kissed that hand, baby, he was trying to show, his sincerity, but at the same time, like, girl, I know Erica's panty got a little moist after that. So I would have been with Mauricio fine ass girl. He fine and rich. You should fuck around and steal your man. You keep playing with her. You better keep her ass close and keep an eye on that ass, okay? So before she embezzle your husband. She gonna embezzle your husband next, girl. Okay? That ass. Embezzle? Next comes is Lisa Rinna. Thank God, because it was awkward as fuck. And she comes in and hugs everybody, talking about what happened with, Doran and how they feel so bad and they can't believe it happened. And Erica says that I want this to be fake. Like, I want this to not be real. All the viewers are looking at this like, we hope this is real, because if it ain't, we are going to drag Miss Dory all the way back to London with her fake ass British accent, okay? So this better be real, okay? Next person to arrive is Dory. She gets there and you can tell she's been crying, she's drained, she looks flushed in the face, and they come around her, they hug her, tell her that they love her and they're going to be there for her, everything's going to be fine. She starts talking about the story. And this is the part I wanted to get to, you guys, like, where I said that the stories are conflicting. It's just not making sense. So Doris says she was sleeping in her room. For one, she didn't have the alarm on. Okay, that's red flag number one. Why are you at home in that big house with your two children, your small children? Her son Jagger is 7 and her daughter Phoenix is 5. Okay, y'all are in the house alone. Your husband is in London, and you don't have your alarm set. Like, make that make sense. I'm not about to be in no big old house without my husband, and I got kids here, and I don't have no alarm set. Like, why not? No matter where you are, you can be in Beverly Hills or you can be in Brooklyn, New York. Okay, alarm system set in place, so I ain't got to worry about nobody coming up in here. I thought that was a red flag. Second red flag. She says that the robbers came in, they broke her window. She was so jet lagged and exhausted that she didn't hear anything. She did hear her door open, so she thought her children was coming in the room. She didn't see that it was her children. She's kind of panicked, so she got up out the bed, notices that it's a man there. And before she could scream, they grab her. Like, he panicked when he saw her. And he grabs her and makes her get on the ground, like, get on the ground, puts a gun to her head and was just like, shut the hell up, or, shut up. And where are all the jewels? Where is everything at? And, she's begging for her, like, please don't kill me. I'm a mother. My kids need their mommy and this, that, and the third. And everybody starts crying and they're just soaking it up, honey, soaking it up. She had to beg them not to kill her. And which is a terrible situation. I would be terrified as well. I just can't. Like, the whole time I'm watching her tell the story, I'm waiting for her. She's crying. She's doing all the things that would look as if she's crying, but I didn't see any tears, you guys. And my eyesight is not the best, but I didn't see any tears. I just saw a lot of hiding her face in her hands. Like, I don't know, guys. I'm not buying it. I'm not. So that was a red flag too. Like, where are the tears, honey? Where is your scooter? Where are your tears, girl? So then Dora goes on to say that the kids didn't hear anything. They didn't even wake up. They didn't hear any noise, thank God, all the screaming that the robbers were doing and all that, which is another red flag. Like, you just said that you didn't set your alarm because sometimes at night they wander around the house and you didn't want them to trip off the alarm. And I'm like, girl, the same reason why you needed to have an alarm on is the same reason why you're saying that you didn't set it. Like, what? You're saying that you didn't set your alarm because you thought the kids were going to set off the alarm, but you needed to set your alarm because you have children in the house and you need to protect them. So make it make sense, Dora. Like, what? And why the hell are your kids walking around in the middle of the night anyway? And usually kids those age are scared of the dark. When my children was at that age, they were afraid of the dark. They didn't even want to get up to go pee because they was afraid of the dark. Like, I would have to leave the bathroom light on or the hallway light on because they would not want to get up and go pee. They would hold their pee all night, or they would have accidents in the bed when they was young because they was afraid of getting up in the dark in the middle of the night. So how your kid just up and wandering around like some sundowners? Like, girl, make it make sense. How you going to use that as an excuse for not setting the alarm? But then the one night that they didn't happen to walk around the house at night, the night that your house got robbed, like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense how you would say that your children wander around the house at night, so you didn't want to set the alarm. But then you turn around and say that your children didn't hear none of the screaming. They didn't even wake up. They didn't hear nothing. Come on, man. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'm not buying it, you guys. I'm sorry. Like, I want to believe it, but I'm not feeling it. I'm just not. It just doesn't make sense to me. So that was another red flag to me. Like, I just feel like Dorit's story is just a little off. Like, she is looking for a storyline, honey. Like Marlon was trying to find Nemo. Okay, so yeah, well, I'm gonna call her as Dory. So Dory named Dory. Yeah, you're Dory now. So you guys, we get to the end of the scene, and everybody's talking and consoling Dora and PK, and Dora wants to go home, so they're exiting, they're leaving, her and her husband. And Dora gets outside, and PK's like, wait, I think I left my phone. So he turns around to go back and get his phone. And we see Dory just like, hurry up and get it. Hurry up and get your phone. Hurry up and get it. Like, she's so tense and scared to be stuck outside by herself. And I'm like, just go in the house with them. Like, I don't know. I don't want to sound insensitive, but I'm just like, why would you just sit on the bench by yourself outside? Just either get in the car, the door wide open, or just go in the house and go with him to go get his phone. Like, I thought that was a little bit dramatic, but you guys, she breaks down crying and she starts talking to herself. She's like, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. And I'm just like, whoo, child, I swear. I really hope this is real, you guys. I really do. But I'm just not buying it. So that's where the episode ends. And next week we're going to get, dive a little deeper into it. Harry's party is going to be coming up. So we'll see what happens there. And I want to see how the girls are going to interact all together when Sutton and Erica's in the same room together, honey. Let's see what that's going to give, because Garcelle and Erica are okay. They're not in the best of terms, but they're, cordial with each other. So I want to see how Sutton is going to be with Erica, and, how she's going to be around Erica while they're in the same room. I just want Sutton to keep that same energy that she has in her confessionals. Don't play with Erica, because Erica definitely been playing with you. So you need to give her the same energy she's giving you back. Check her when need to be checked. Garcelle needs to do that as well, because she kind of lacks on that as far as telling these girls off to their face, but will read them down in the confessional. And look good, too, while she at it, because that confessional look, girl, you looking good, girl. Loved it. They're going to drag this on, you guys. Oh, my gosh. And this is only episode 1. And, they be having, like, damn near 20 episodes, including the reunion parts. They be having about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts. So, they're going to drag this on, child. It's so unfortunate, but they're going to drag that ass if she is lying. And Andy is in time for the reunion that he doesn't let up on her. I want him to go at her like he went at, Erica Jane, to get to the bottom of this situation, because the stories are conflicting and it's giving scam. It's giving storyline. It's giving unrealistic. It's giving lies. The lies. So I don't know, you guys. You guys tell me what you think. Drop down and get your eagle on in the comments section. Okay, and hit the notification bell after you hit subscribe if you are new here, so you can get the drop every time that I drop. Make sure y'all be on the lookout for all my upcoming videos that's about to drop. And I will see y'all on the next one. So until then, bye guys.